one of the biggest aspects about the Modern Warfare, especially with the multiplayer, is the reimagined maps, Modern Warfare 2. Obviously, I've played a bit of a beta. I've only played a sample of the maps. What can fans expect from the reimagined maps that may be different from what they remember from 2009?
Yeah, so well, first of all, so I'm the campaign creator director, so I don't want to speak too much for my multiplayer counterparts because they're not here. But I will say that I too am super excited about having those like uber famous maps come back and to be able to play them. All the maps have been modernized and updated. They have with respect to obviously, higher fidelity, quality and visuals and visual effects and audio, and all that goes into making them, they're the same maps and they feel and play similarly, but they're next gen and high definition in a way that makes them is really exciting. In addition, they've been updated with and modernized with new for new gameplay updates, right? So there's a lot of different movement and gameplay that's been brought back to the game, and those maps cater to those different movement types now. So
you mentioned about the audio. As someone who loves to use my gaming headset, especially when I'm playing online, how has that been improved both for single player and for multiplayer to enhance the player immersion?
Yeah, that is something I know a lot about. In fact, I used to be the audio director of the game before I was the creative director, and so spent a lot of time without it. Yeah, I mean, we have an awesome audio team at Sledgehammer Games, and doing everything to push the medium forward, and so yeah, there's I know we just barely wrapped up the final mixes just this past week, and the game is sounding really great, and a lot of, I mean, Call of Duty is known for having great audio, and the weapon sounds are so important to that. And just the things that the audio team have been doing this year is, as I sat down and played, I was like, wow, you guys, this sounds really awesome.
Obviously, the Call of Duty series has always been incredibly cinematic. What inspired you to maybe take elements from previous Modern Warfare games, put them into the reimagined ones, hence Modern Warfare 3? And what was the design process and mixing things up, but maybe taking back the best aspects from different Modern Warfare games that fans might know?
Yeah. I think when we sat down to plan out kind of what this game was going to look like, the biggest part is it's the direct sequel, right? It's the direct sequel to MW2, and these characters, like you said, they were in the original franchise, and we recast them and rebooted them in different ways. So getting to pay kind of homage to those characters and kind of respect what those originals were, while kind of expanding and adding these new layers onto them, was really exciting. I think Shepard is a great example of that. There are a lot of opinions about Shepard in that original series, and in the way that he's kind of represented now, it's a little bit different. He's a little bit different of a character, but I think he retains some of that mystery of like, we're playing with some expectations here for what's gonna happen, because the characters in this current canon, right, they're not aware of like what happened in the original games, but we as developers and fans, we are. So it's interesting to bring back a character like Makarov too, who died, right? He he was dead in that past canon. So to get to reintroduce him to the franchise as somebody new, this kind of cold, calculated strategist, and give him new interactions with characters. He's not just interacting with 141, he's interacting with Farah this time quite a bit. It's his story is very intertwined with hers. So kind of getting to think of the characters in this new way, interacting with this new canon. While if you're a fan of the whole series, hopefully you'll find some similarities, but also kind of respect that these are new characters in a way too, and kind of learning to love them. That was a really interesting aspect of knowing what that past was, and paving the way for the future.
You bring up Shepard. I think it was really interesting. We had because of the Shepard backstory, everybody hated Shepard, right? From the Shepard killed Ghost, I hate this guy. And so when we rebooted the franchise, we had to be very careful. If you pay close attention to the first couple of games where Shepard, he is only ever in the game in cinematic, because we were too afraid to put him near the player with a gun, because we were afraid everybody would just try to shoot him and kill him, right? Because of that past experience with them. And so it's interesting. We do have to very think carefully, even though these are new characters and it's rebooted, to recognize that players come to this with, as Shelby described, with some preconceptions or at least some feelings about some of these characters. And so it's fun to it's tricky sometimes, but it's also fun to be able to play with that and create situations where it will delight fans, so things that fans didn't expect based on what they thought a character was. Everybody thinks they know Makarov, but they might not know the Makarov we're making for this game, right? And we hope that'll be fun and exciting for players to discover.
With Makarov, what inspired you to bring him back, and how much fun was it to bring him sort of new audience, as well as the challenges of making him different to returning fans?
I think for me, I mean, having been a developer who worked on the original Modern Warfare 3, Makarov was a big part of that game. Like I said, I remember working on the final scene where Price killed Makarov, and so that's sort of been in our DNA. And so when we had this great opportunity to make the sequel to Modern Warfare 2 and bring Modern Warfare 3 to life again, sort of our initial conversations are, oh, we should bring Makarov back, right? We're so excited that the Makarov character hadn't appeared yet, and we had this opportunity to bring him back, and in this reimagined universe, it was a cool opportunity for us.
Mm-hmm.
Graves in Modern Warfare 2, I thought he was a fantastic character, and
he was great.
How is he going to play alongside Makarov? You got a new prominent villain, as well as an iconic returning villain. How are they going to intertwine?
Yeah, I think, just like smack me if I go too spoilery. I think we've got, so Shepard and Graves were kind of presented as a pair in MW2. Graves was the one who got the order from Shepard to go after Task Force 141. And so I think you'll probably see them together at some point. Those two are both going to be in the campaign. And so you've kind of got these almost different factions, I guess you could say. These are all kind of folks from 141's past, right? They have these past relationships with Makarov, with Shepard, with Graves. And so you've got the Makarov stuff that's happening. And I'll kind of say Makarov is certainly the grounded conflict in this game. He is the center of which all the other conflict kind of revolves around. So he's planting false flags. He's framing FARA and the ULF. He's painting them as terrorists because they were receiving weapons, American-made weapons. And that, if you remember from MW2, is what Shepard kind of got called out for covering up his transporting of American-made weapons. So that's kind of where you can start to see those threads crossing over. So rest assured, there will be a nice bow that ties it all up. But yeah, we always like to think of Makarov as that anchor point for everybody else to kind of have conflict and have some problems with over the course of the story.
Yeah, I love the Graves character. I think the Graves character is so cool, and so it was fun to see him brought back, right, during the live season. And the team thought they got him, but they didn't. They weren't as successful in killing him as they had thought. Mm-hmm. And I think what's interesting about having Makarov, which is a super villain, but having Graves, who, boy, it feels really close to home when somebody betrays you, right? There's something about a good guy that there's a betrayal that makes them extra nasty, right? And so I think all of these, are things that are going to challenge Task Force 141, right? And that's what I think makes a really interesting story. And this is a story where Task Force 141 are really up against it. They're hitting some challenges like they've never had before, and seeing how they're going to deal with guys like Graves and Shepard and Makarov, and juggle all this and stop the world from going to the Brico War. I think that's what makes the narrative really exciting.
tell us why returning fans and new fans, what they've got to look forward to with Modern Warfare when it drops on November 10th.
So you want to go first?
You go.
So they obviously it's this is first time in Call of Duty history that we get to have a direct sequel, so you don't have to wait 3 years to get payoff of what you played last year. It's coming right now. You get the carry forward, in MP of all your favorite weapons and things that you've purchased and leveled up. And then ultimately you get to meet the big bad Makarov and do so in a way in campaign that's very new for the franchise, a total innovation, which is these open combat missions. So this introduction of player choice like we've never had before in a campaign is there's a lot to be excited by. And I even left out zombies, open world zombies,
of course,
zombies set in the Modern Warfare universe has never happened before in Call of Duty. And so there's just things piling on the list of things that fans can be super excited for.
Yeah, I think Dave summed it up. This game has got everything. It's got something for everybody, right? Whether you're into zombies, multiplayer, campaign, it's gonna be an exciting, a huge release, and we hope that the players just love it as much as we do.
Yeah,